Hey everyone, it's Adam Mitchell here with Treasure Trading, and we are back with another trade recap. Today is September 14th, 2022. Man, it's another red day. I was green and then I was red. I didn't quite hit my profit target. Again, there was opportunity, and again, I ended the day red. And as you can see on the thumbnail of this video, the reality of being a consistently losing trader, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and yeah, we're going to go over my trades from today. So again, if you aren't subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get into today's trades. So I'm ending the day down $46.19. I traded three stocks: ADTX, BIAF, and SPRC. So my big loser was on BIAF. I lost $53 on that stock. So like I said, I was green on the day. I think the most I was up at one point was $35. And then I just kept whittling it down and then, bouncing back up. But I eventually just, went to 20, went to 10, went to -5. And then before I know it, I'm down to -46. But yeah, we're going to go over my trades and see what I did. All right, so the first stock I traded was BIAF. I took the trade before I turned on my recording because I forgot to turn it on. My first trade, I made $15 on. I took 150 shares. I bought for this 1 minute dip here. I got in, I think, around 580, and I sold it up at 590. So 10 cents on 150 shares. I made 15 bucks. Okay, so cool. I stacked up a little win there. And then coming up here, it looks like I'm about to buy a dip, a 1 minute dip. And right there, it gets filled, and it happened so fast. I got in, I got out, and I made about another $7. So now I'm up in total $22.50 on BIAF. All right, good. We're stacking it up. We're just making some gains here. So right there was my first losing trade. So I put my order out at this support level that I have mapped out, and I got in with 300 shares in total. So my first position was 150. I got in with 150 at 560, and it cracked below that level into this next support level, and I added another 150, and I think at about 551, and my average price was 300 shares at 556. This level didn't hold, and we came down into this level, and now I have 300 shares at 556, and to be honest, I feel like I'm oversized, and that's not good. But it's like this didn't work out, and now we're down here, and it's like, okay, well, I could be buying here, so I just go ahead and add more. So now I have 300 shares at 556, and we're popping up a little bit, and I just go ahead and sell it there. And altogether, I am up $21 on this stock. Okay, that's fine. I'm a third to my profit target. I'm a third of the way to my profit target. So then I switch over to SPRC. So SPRC, man, this is a bad entry for real, because I had pulled this stock up and it had broken this level, and I was about to buy in, but it had happened so fast that I missed this entry down here for the break of this level. But I honestly missed this entry too, this pullback off of that level. And so I took a bad trade here and I got in high, but it happened to work out in my favor. I wound up selling it, and I made $4. I mean, it wasn't really in my favor. I just didn't lose on it, and I made a little bit. So now I think at this point I'm up maybe 25 or 26 on the day. I missed the bigger move on this, and I kind of took a shaky trade on my last one. So it's like I'm barely getting by right now, and I'm up $25. So let's see what continues to happen here. All right, so ADTX got halted going down, and it got halted at this level here. So I figured it'll resume probably down here and make a squeeze to the upside. So I have an order out there to buy 10 shares. at about 23.50, it says here. So fast forwarding, it resumes, and I've got 10 shares at $23. And now I'm just looking for this thing to maybe just squeeze up to 24, maybe even 25. And we're kind of getting to squeeze up. And I wind up adding 10 more shares to this thing as I see it starting to curl up. So now I'm in with 20 shares at 23.27, and we're up at 23.74. I just want to see this thing squeeze up to maybe 24.50, something like that. But we're not really getting that squeeze, and I just went ahead and sold it. I made $6 on it, so now I think I'm up like 30, like 31 or 32 or something like that on the day. And, you know, it backed off of that level. You know, you see it drop off right there, but it could have just as easily gone up. I mean, it's like you never know like what they're going to do, which is what makes it so difficult, you know, because you decide to sell early and then it continues to go up, and then you decide to hold it and then it goes against you. You know, like what we're going to see in a trade here that I decided to hold because I'm like, man, every time I sell early, it makes that bigger squeeze. And then today I was like, okay, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to hold it for the bigger squeeze. And it just didn't happen. So this was ADTX, made $6 on it. You know, but let's go back to BIAF. So BIAF wound up making this squeeze off the lows here, right? It went from the upper 540s all the way up to 570. And, you know, I was in somewhere down here, right? Like I first got this entry up here and then it continued lower and then I added to it down here and then I sold it maybe up here or something. But it came all the way up into VWAP. And it's like, all right, well, what do I do in that situation? It's like, well, it looks like there's a double bottom right here. Okay, double bottoms are good. That's a sign of support. So we have this support here of the double bottom combined with this support here, and maybe even 550, you know, once we get and stay above it. But it's like, I took this entry and, you know, I don't know. It's tricky. It's like trying to catch smoke sometimes is kind of what it's like. Let's continue on with the morning. All right, BIAF, here we go. So right here, we got this dip down into this line here at 544. And I bought 150 shares. I got filled at 548. And I'm, you know, looking for this thing to bounce off this level, maybe squeeze back up to 560, you know, maybe even back up to VWAP. Well, let's see what happens. So it continues to drop below that level, and it comes down into 537. And I stop out of it and I give back, you know, half of my gains on it. So I think now at this point, I'm only up 25 on the day. So I've given back profit. And, you know, I can feel myself getting annoyed. You know, something I've said in the past is I need to be aware of what I'm feeling because I can really just get locked in on trying to trade without fully recognizing that I'm compromised pretty much. And I maybe just need to take a step back and just kind of, you know, walk around for a minute or two and then, you know, try to like recenter myself or something, you know, because when you're annoyed and you're trying to trade and, you know, all I can think about is making it to my profit target. And I keep, you know, I just start taking cuts here and there and I just give back my profits. But, you know, we can see right here, it cracked down. But what happened is it got bought up. It got bought up off of this level. And I stopped out of it, right? So we see it bouncing up here. And now we're back up to my entry, basically. And we're just kind of hanging around that level. Let's see what it does. So now we're up at 553. And we're starting to make our move up that way. And before you know it, we're up at 571 now. You know, but you can see it in this candle, it came down into 540 and then it shot up off that level. And now we're up above VWAP. And you know, this is a big green candle here. And it's like, okay, you know, what's the answer here? right? What is the answer here for me to not miss out on this profit? Because I bought this and it cracked below it and I stopped out, but now it's holding above it again, and then it kind of cracks below it again, and now we're shooting up. You know, maybe there was something to the left that I didn't quite see. I'm going to pull it up and see if there was something that I was missing. All right, so I drew in a line there at the lows to see if there was something there that I had missed. So here's that line that I drew in, and when we look to the left, you know, it kind of corresponds with this range here, but I've got this level here, the high of this candle, mapped out, and it came down into 535, and I'm just wondering, you know, what am I supposed to do? I don't understand. You know, maybe this could have been a potential entry right here, right? Because it bounces off this level and then it comes up into resistance at the 9 moving average, and then it pulls back, and maybe this could have presented another opportunity for me to take a stab on this trade, and then maybe I could have gotten the move. I mean, look at what this thing did. Oh my gosh. I mean, this is all profit that I missed out on right here. And then, of course, after this move happens, then I'm trying to trade it, and that's when I give back $53 worth of, you know, profits or whatever, you know, because I'm trying to trade it. I was trying to trade it in this area here, and but man, off of this level, this thing really spiked up, and it just, man, I just don't know, like, where I should be cutting these things or what. It's so confusing. Man, I just don't know. And that's why I'm a losing trader, because I take losses, I don't take profits. I don't know. But yeah, let's keep going over the trades. Okay, so yeah, we can see it's spiking up here. I'm sitting here watching it like, oh my God. And it's just continuing to squeeze up. You know, it squeezed up into a halt, right? It went all the way from this level all the way up to this level here and got halted from 535 all the way up to 637. You know, I was in down here, but I got stopped out. You know, I sold it. I got stopped out. And, you know, that's something that I'm struggling with, is where's that line in the sand that I should be selling? Because I don't necessarily want to take that full $20 loss. But at the same time, I keep cutting my trades before hitting that $20 loss mark. And it just makes me wonder if I'm supposed to just wait to hit that $20 loss mark. Because what I was usually thinking is, if I'm buying it at support and then it breaks below support, well, if it's breaking below support, then it's probably going to continue downward even more. But as we saw in this situation right here, right, it broke below the level, but it got bought up. But like I said, it then presented this other opportunity where it was holding the lows. It was holding the lows. So yeah, maybe on that first trade, I'm taking a loss. But then maybe on that second trade, you know, I get to try again, because it did give me another chance. I just didn't take it. You know, I think I was looking at something else. You know, this is why day trading is so difficult. Day trading is so difficult. And like, you got to be really good. You know, it's like being a grandmaster chess player. Like, you have to be able to see all the possible moves, but also be managing your risk and taking proper share size and knowing what prices to be getting in and out at, and what the line in the sand is, right, for stopping out or for taking profit. And while it's happening in real time, getting that entry with the correct position size can be tricky. And then having to take that full size max loss isn't fun either. But, you know, maybe I just really need to start trading like that. You know, I take my entry, I size it properly, I draw my lines in the sand, and I stick to it. And if I lose that full $20, right, and I have to make sure that that $20 loss is based on me sizing my position properly and having the proper line in the sand drawn. So I really have to make sure that I'm getting in with the proper share size and stopping out at the correct price, which means before I get in, I really have to have those numbers clear. But something about trading for as long as I have and then seeing the way that other traders trade, they kind of look at those parameters as like training wheels almost, I think. They don't, they take basically the same share size on every trade and their losses will vary. And so, yeah, but for me, I still haven't figured it out. I still haven't figured out an exact process to follow every single time. So, yeah, like the thumbnail or title of this video says, it's like, this is the struggle of being a consistently losing trader is, missing profits, taking losses, and trying to figure out what the answer is. How am I supposed to behave and make decisions in order to not be a losing trader, a consistently losing trader over time? What's going to be that switch for me to go from being a losing trader to a winning trader? And I still haven't figured it out. But there have been plenty of days where, and streaks that I've been on where I am consistently winning. But even on those days, I'm still making mistakes and I'm still leaving a bunch of money on the table. So it's like, if I was a better trader on those days, I'd be making way more. So even those green streaks, I can't really look at that and be totally satisfied because I know that I am not doing as good as I should be. All right, so enough of that. Let's go to the next trade. All right, so this is where I think my series of losing trades started on the stock, BIAF. So we made this big ramp up from 540 all the way up to 675. And, we can see that we came up into this level here and backed off. And now we've pulled back and now we're at this level. And I'm thinking, all right, maybe this is a good place to buy. We're at this level and maybe we'll see a ramp back up to the highs. So I get in with 100 shares at 651. And now I'm looking for that squeeze up to the highs, which I would have made like $25 on that trade, which would have been a good trade. So we squeezed up to 655 and now we're backing off again, back down to 647. Okay, we're holding up again. We're back up to 652. I've got my order out there to sell at 674. And now we're backing off that level again, and we can see a bit of a triple bottom right here. And now I'm getting worried that we're going to crack below it and maybe come all the way down here. But let's see what happens. Man, we're really just on the edge of a cliff. Like, that's what this feels like. We're on the edge of a cliff right here. And I'm like, shit, I'm about to lose. Like, this is going to be a losing trade. And I'm down 10 bucks on it. I've basically given back everything that I made on it. Let's see what happens, though. So we're about to break down here, and I went ahead and sold, right? I'll press play on this. So right here, it's cracking down, and I'm selling it. So right there, we got the touch of the 9 moving average, and we're getting a nice bounce, which maybe that should have been my entry, right? So now, man, so I just bought 300 shares because I'm, like, annoyed right now that this was the better entry. I got in up here, it's like I should have waited for this touch here, right? Like, I feel like I sometimes misuse my mapped out lines. So, that's another thing, right? It's like, all right, what should I be doing? So we get that pullback into the 9 moving average, which is a nice pullback. And as we can see, we're getting this nice bounce. This was the low of this was at 630, and now we're back up to 644. This would have been a great entry. I just slammed the buy button, 300 shares, because that's like what I'll do. It's like a revenge trade. And so now it's like I'm really looking for this thing to squeeze back up to the highs. Like and this was the trade that I was talking about earlier where I was up like $35, I think, on this trade, and I could have sold it, but I was like, no, every time I sell it early, it goes to where I wanted it to. So let's see. It's squeezing up. We're getting a squeeze here. Let's see. I've got my sell order out there, and I'm like, come on, please don't flush. Please just squeeze up. So we came down and touched the 9 moving average again. So right here is where I was up the most I was on this trade. I was up $35. And, you know, we're not breaking above this consolidation range. But man, I feel like in any other situation, any other time that I decide to sell it, it squeezes up to the target. You know, but in this situation, I'm like, I'm going to hold it. And it reverses on me. You know, I'm in with 300 shares at 643. So I went from being up 35 to now I'm down 27. And, you know, I can feel my blood boiling. I can feel the emotions just wanting to take over because I'm just so fucking pissed off at this situation. And so I stopped out because I'm like, dude, this thing is going to just crack all the way down to $6. I stopped out, and altogether I was down $53 on that trade. You know, hindsight, it's like, okay, I guess I should have sold it there. You know, backing this thing up, this candle hit a high of 655. You know, I'll pull this chart up. You know, this candle hit a high of 655. The high of this was 656, 657, 654, 655. It landed right in the middle of all these 3 candles here. And it's like, that's the only thing that I can think of is like, oh, I guess I should have paid attention to that. You know, it's like, I don't know. I just don't know. Like what the answer is. Like, why didn't it squeeze up? How could I have not lost on this trade? You know, what should I have done? Like, am I supposed to be clocking this like super quickly? Like, oh, okay, there's maybe this resistance here, right? You know, but we made a new high, a new 1-minute high. The candle here was 652. The candle here went up to 655. It's like, I don't know. Because let's say that I did decide to sell it into this resistance, and then it breaks over that resistance, and now the anxiety of the thought of, okay, well, do I re-enter for the break of maybe 657? But okay, we're going to come up into 662. And I don't know if we're going to break that. So it's like, I sell it here, and then it breaks up, and then I guess I'm getting back in. You know, maybe with half size, right? Maybe I get back in with half size. You know, it's like those are the decisions and the things that I need to work out so I can avoid these losses and avoid not making anything. So I should be thinking, all right, I should sell, buy back, sell, buy back, sell. So it's like, you got to be really fast. And, you know, that's what I'm thinking is like, man, am I ever going to really develop that real-time skill to just be an exceptional trader and to just lock up profit and not miss the moves and not take dumb trades and not oversize in the heat of the moment and not take big losses and not trade past my max loss, hold until my profit targets? I don't know. And again, you know, this is the struggle of being a consistently losing trader, because it's like, I feel like I know what to do. Maybe, but I don't know if it's all hindsight, right? I mean, it's not all hindsight because I do take good trades. I have been on winning streaks. There's something there. It's like I do, to an extent, know what I'm doing, but I don't, you know, is it that I don't know what I'm doing enough, or is it that I just don't know how to execute properly? So it's like, that's the struggle that I'm in right now. So yeah, that was BIAF. Let's see what other trades I took, if I took any more. Yeah, so let's look at SPRC. I know I took some trades on that stock that I scrolled over. Okay, so SPRC. So coming back to this stock here, I took this trade here. It squeezed up a little bit. I made $4 on it, like 2 cents a share. It squeezed up even more. And now I've got my order out here to buy 300 shares if it can pull back to 123 because I'm thinking this is going to be a 1 minute pullback, a nice dip, and then a bounce off of support. So we're holding up. We're not really getting that pullback. And so I actually took a trade on this on my other screen because I was trading SPRC and BIAF at the same time, but my recording software can only record one screen at a time, which was on BIAF. So I'm trading SPRC on this screen over here, so I didn't capture it, but I took a trade on this move up. So it pulled back. I had my order out there, and it was squeezing up. And, you know, let's see what my exact trades were on it. Okay, so I've got this pulled up here. Let's go to my trades that I took on this stock. So here's my first trade on SPRC, which was back here as it was squeezing up. And then my next trades were down here. So I bought 300 shares at 127. All right, so my original buy order was at 123, which ironically enough, it came down exactly into 123 and it had a double bottom there because I think on the 5 minute, that's where support was on the 5 minute. Let's take a look. Or sorry, I'm not, you know what, I forget. But 123 was actually the pre-market high is what that was. Right, so that was a level that I didn't have mapped out. All right, so 123 was the pre-market high here. It came down and touched that level, made a nice bounce up. I mean, God, from 123 all the way up to 145. And I bought 300 shares at 127. And you know what's funny is that this isn't even the trade that I took. I traded it back here, right? But it's funny that it came down into that level again and bounced off of it very nicely. But yeah, so I actually traded it back in this range, not in this range, but off of this level, it made a nice big move. But yeah, let's actually go back to where I traded it. So we can see right here, right? So this is the pre-market high. It came down and touched that level to the penny, and it made a double bottom. So this would have been a great place to buy. And so it bounced off of that level. And as it was making the new 1 minute high at 127, that's where I got in with 300 shares. And unfortunately enough, I sold it 34 seconds later at 132. I don't know. You know, because then it squeezed all the way up to 139, you know, but this would have been the better entry down here, of course. And so after that trade, you know, I found myself up $17 on the stock. Okay, so now we're getting another pullback on the 1 minute. And I'm thinking, okay, pullback, this thing might come back up and test the highs. So let's see what happens. So right here, we can see that I'm in with 300 shares at 132. Because I thought that we were going to hold up at that level. But, you know, realistically, it's like the 9 moving average is at 130. But let's see what happens, right? I was looking for this thing to curl back up to 139, and I would have sold it at 139. But it continued to pull back, and I guess I sold it at 131. I was in closer to 132, 133, and I guess I sold it at 131 or something. I lost like $4, so I lost like a penny and a half, I guess, per share. You know, but we're holding this support level. Let's see what it does if it squeezes up. So we can see I got back in, basically at the same price, 300 shares at 132. All right, I just went ahead and sold it again, you know, because it wasn't holding up. I thought it was just going to pull back again. And as we can see right here, we're making that squeeze up, right? We hit a high of 137 on this candle, and now I'm taking another revenge trade, it looks like. I'm in with 500 shares at 134. You know, but this was actually a decent entry because it was breaking this double top, I guess, at 133. You know, I guess the entry was fine. It's just I was in with big size, which is not good. So we backed off that level again, and now I'm only up $5. It squeezed up, but we can see right here that it pulled back to 129, and then it bounced off that level. And I'm just thinking, like, okay, I was in here at 132. It came down to 139. Maybe, that was another instance where I just took like a $6 loss or something like that. And I'm not really waiting until it hits my $20 max loss. It's like, man, after days like today, I'm just so confused, it feels like. And so just like, how do I end the day green? Like, I've ended the day green so many times, right? I mean, it's not that I can't end the day green, but it's like, on days like today, when there is opportunity to end the day green, how do I do that without, selling early or taking dumb trades or oversizing? It's because when I'm in the trade, it's like, I feel like it's telling me to sell it and then I sell it, but then I shouldn't have sold it. It's just so confusing and so just confusing. So we can see it squeezes up even more, and I'm still just getting in and getting out. I mean, we came up right into the high of day. I mean, from 130 all the way up to 139. I mean, that's good. But, right here on this candle, we see it break down below the 9 moving average. Oh, crap, I guess it's coming all the way down. So you stop out. But then it turns back around. Okay, I guess I didn't give myself enough room. And then it's like, all right, I'll give myself more room on the next one. Oh, man, well, that's the one where it keeps going down and now I'm losing more. And maybe that's the place where it's deciding to bounce off of. And it's like, okay, well, it's just got to figure it out, See, like, I'm getting worked up just trying to think about it because it's so confusing. So let's see what continues to happen. So I keep taking these 500 share positions on this thing and keep selling it. And yeah, I think that's all of my trades from today. So yeah, I'm ending the day down $46.19 in that max loss range. So that's good that I didn't go over that like I did yesterday. But again, there was opportunity to be green today. There was opportunity to be green yesterday. And that's what continues to give me hope and stay on this journey because I know it's possible. It's just very, very difficult. And I realize that. And I just got to figure it out. I got to figure out what I'm supposed to do, where I'm supposed to be cutting my trades. How much room to the downside am I supposed to give these things? And based on that, how am I supposed to be sizing my trades? That's the name of the game is position sizing and managing your risk. And then, of course, understanding also when to take profit. So yeah, that's today's video. It's a bit of a long one. Not expecting anyone to watch this thing all the way through, but it's more so for me, and maybe anyone out there who is also struggling like I am can kind of relate to it. But yeah, if you guys like these videos, then again, please go ahead and subscribe and leave a like. Yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and tomorrow's another chance to do well, and we'll see what I can do. All right, guys, that's it.